I know you spoke very highly of Joe Hendry and the TNA crowd. What made you want to do that, and what was behind the thinking there?
I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, I'm still there, regardless of what I'm doing, and my job as someone who is a legitimate star is to try and rub off my star power on as many people as I can, especially the people that are, you can kind of see that are the chosen people. I feel a lot of the buzz on the last few TNA tapings that I've been out with Joe Hendry, just the way the crowd is so emotionally connected to him. It reminds me of when Broken Matt Hardy was really getting hot. That's kind of how that feels to me. And I said that out there very openly. And I think it's going to be really interesting the next couple of weeks, what you see on TV, because you're going to kind of see a morph. Like, I cut a hell of a promo on TV just about what they did to my wife with Moose pulling her in, and then Eddie Edwards pie-faced her, and Alicia, the Snow Witch, beating her. You just see Matt Hardy speaking, and Jeff is there as well. So you're going to see almost like a little bit of a morphed Broken Matt and kind of standard Matt Hardy these next couple weeks. And obviously very excited for this taping coming up in Philadelphia, because myself and Jeff, we're going to be having the first Hardy Boys tag team match since returning to TNA that weekend. And the other match I'm going to be having that weekend, my wife, after 8 years, is coming out of retirement, and myself and her are going to be taking on Eddie Edwards and the Snow Witch in Philadelphia too.
This is like when Shawn Michaels came out of retirement for Saudi Arabia. You never saw it coming, but all of a sudden, here we are. How's she feeling about that? She excited? Reluctantly excited?
After she took that twist of fate, I think she may have rethought it a little bit just after she gave the twist of fate, because it had been a while since she had bumped, obviously. She is excited, and she's very nervous. Like, I wasn't nervous for my match at all with Moose. It was pretty straightforward, and I felt good about it. I enjoy working with him, but like, she was so nervous just about her part, and those nerves were around all day. She made me nervous just for her, just because she was so nervous all day. Like, I was fine with my stuff, but she's excited for it, and she wants to kind of like just try and go out with a bang. So we'll rock and roll. It's gonna be fun in Philly, in the most extreme arena in all of America. We're gonna be at the 2300 Arena, ECW Arena. One night Matt and Reby team, one night Matt and Jeff team. It's gonna be a hell of a weekend.
Are you gonna look her in the face and say, "I'm sorry, I love you," and then twist of fate her?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, I like sharing our children and living together in the same house.
Yeah, one thing real quick on the Joe Hendry front. The ultimate litmus test, like you said, it reminds you of Broken Matt. The ultimate litmus test that something is working. He goes into NXT and everyone knew his shtick. Everyone knew his gimmick. So that tells you that it's kind of like what you were saying last week, how everyone knew the deletes even outside of TNA.
Yeah.
And it put it on Vince's radar. And when he steps into another company and people in that NXT arena know his "I believe in Joe Hendry" double clap and all that stuff, that's a pretty good sign, isn't that?
Yeah, let me go into Joe Hendry for a second. It was very cool whenever I met him. We had met back in the day when I was doing that Inside the Ropes, that the little tour. I did like a week-long tour over in the UK, and he was in there. And I do remember meeting him at one point in there. I remember hearing that name for sure. And I remember he had some buzz on the indies and whatnot. But then, like, after coming into TNA and speaking to him and interacting with him and dealing with him, just a really classy guy. He's great at social media, the way he's on top of stuff. Even some of the stuff he was posted or people would make for him and send reminded me a lot of the stuff that I would do right when Broken Matt got hot. He was very good on that. And then when he started just like moving up these charts, especially in the UK, and he was like charting on America, that was really incredible with that song. And you could just feel like a special vibe around him. And he's a guy who thinks outside the box. He thinks differently. And I love the fact that he's I feel like he's a pretty standard, bare bones wrestler in many, many ways, but he gets the entertainment aspect, and he also gets the promotion aspect of his character and his role and his arc outside of the ring. And he's really good at that, especially social media content.
No, it's like lean into your strengths, right? Like, this guy legitimately played music professionally. So lean into that and make that part of who you are. Some of the best characters encompass some of the most authentic parts of the people portraying them.
Yeah.
So that's great as far as I see it. Good
and,
stuff.
And it's cool too, because he is a guy that is over. People love him. He's legit selling a ton of merch at TNA. And the fact that he did this deal where he went to NXT and all the guys jumped on him, and Frank Kazarian kind of led the charge, which he's in a rivalry with the TNA and ends up dumping him out. It's one of those things, like, as opposed to getting like eliminated mid-match that is kind of forgetful, I would rather him be eliminated in the beginning where a bunch of guys jump on him and, you know, then Frankie dumps him out and like watch the crowd react, because they're obviously going to be upset. And that was very much like you said, that was a litmus test for how popular he was. The way people were pissed off because they wanted to see him and they wanted to see him perform and they want to see him live at NXT. So that was really interesting. And I think it's going to add a lot of fuel to the fire that is building between Frank Kazarian and Joe Hendry in the future.